Good Saturday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing. Looking at our impact map for the short term, both today and Sunday, it's a cool, moist one, especially for the eastern Great Basin for parts of central and northern Utah into eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Not only a cold rain, but mountain snows above 65 to 7,500 feet, where 6 to 12 inches could accumulate. Otherwise, anywhere from a quarter inch to over an inch of rain. Where you see the green. Other areas will stay cool with high humidity, so no fire impacts as far as we're concerned. And in the long term, it will be turning warmer and drier, especially across the western portion of the Great Basin. We'll get to that in a moment. Over the past 24 hours, a scattering of lightning across central Nevada. Of course, these areas have moistened up quite a bit. Also some lightning in eastern parts of Utah. You can see that precipitation occurred with both of these lightning areas. And hence we really have no significant new fire starts, just one out here in far eastern or southeastern Utah. Otherwise, any existing fires are from previous days and mostly in mop-up stage or monitor stage. Observed precipitation over the past 7 days, quite significant. Areas in the green, a half inch to over an inch of rain where you see the yellow. And over the past 14 days, you see that that area even encompasses parts of southern Nevada. So if you look at the left side, where just about all areas except for southern areas got pretty much lambasted with precipitation, and you look at the past 14 days, even those southern areas received significant wetting rains as well. There really leaves very few pockets that have not received significant wetting rains, maybe a little bit up in our northwestern portions of Nevada, but that's just a small sliver. Our ERCs reflect that green everywhere. Arrows pointed downwards means the trend for the ERCs is down, except a scattering of yellows here in the far southeast and in the far northwest. But even those northwestern areas will continue to decrease ERC-wise due to the cool and humid conditions. And even our 10-hour fuel is not really playing much of a role because they also respond very quickly to moistening conditions. You can see through here mostly benign. A few drier pockets up in western Nevada, but that's basically about it. Taking a look at the satellite imagery with upper-level maps superimposed, unseasonably deep low pressure, more typical of November, December, digging down across the Great Basin through here. Cold air with developing moisture means more rain and snows just ahead of this low, so across eastern Nevada and into most of Utah is where we expect that over the next 24 to 48 hours. Otherwise, strong high pressure building across the eastern part of the country, and Hurricane Maria, strong hurricane which raked through Puerto Rico, will be gradually pushing northwards and not much of a factor for the mainland United States at the present time. So taking a look at this afternoon on the upper level map on the left hand side, you can see a deep trough of low pressure, more typical of November or December than late September, and this green moist area is developing moisture through here, so significant rains and mountain snows where you see these areas of green and dark green across parts of Utah, or actually most of Utah. You can see that significant fire potential is in the green moist category in just about all areas, just barely hanging by a thread in the yellow in far southeastern areas of Utah. And then for weather-wise, precipitation, let's look at that first. Across Utah, significant precipitation where you see the darker greens and the blues. You can see on the scale there a quarter inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain, even trailing back into parts of eastern Nevada. Should see a wetting rain as well with some snow in the higher peaks, drier to the east and to the west. You can see winds here mainly northerly across a good portion of the area. Of course, this will be accompanied by fairly high humidity, especially the further east that you go. Now on Sunday, that upper low still sits over the eastern portion of the Great Basin, spinning lots of moisture back into Wyoming, eastern Idaho, northern Utah. All areas would have moistened up with either precipitation or high humidity to remain mainly in the green. And we can see that significant precipitation continues across portions of northern Utah, eastern Idaho, and western Wyoming. Wind flow still north to northwesterly. Some good gusts over 30, 35, where you see the areas in orange or purple, but again, that'll be accompanied by fairly high humidity. On Monday, that trough low pressure gradually weakens and starts slowly inching eastwards, but we're still under its influence, so still cooler than normal conditions. No significant fire potential concerns. On Monday, we look at the weather conditions, still northerly winds. They start diminishing a bit. Big gusty as you come out of Cedar City down towards the St. George area. But again, overall, those fuels are still fairly moist. Precipitation, just some lingering stuff over the Uintas and into western Wyoming. but basically the damage has been done, as you see through here, across just about all of Utah except far southern areas. A good wetting rain and across the higher terrain over an inch of precipitation, which could translate to 6 to 12 inches of snow across the central and northern Wasatch up into the Uintas, into western Wyoming and eastern Idaho. Going further down the road as we go into Tuesday, the trough low pressure still lingers, so still cooler than normal, but not much in the way of precipitation. So basically our fuels stay fairly benign. Similar story on Wednesday, a closed low here over southern California, spinning in some moisture towards the Arizona Strip into southern Utah. And then on Thursday, we do notice that more moisture spins into southern Utah, the Arizona Strip, southern Nevada, so more moisture in areas of southeast Utah, which actually misses the brunt of this initial storm, so they stay on the moist side. We do notice drier conditions gradually pushing into northwestern Nevada. And on Friday, even though we stay moist across most of Utah and the Arizona Strip, still hanging dry here in northwest Nevada. So along with California, there is a potential for at least some new starts, although potential for large fires remains quite small. Precipitation over the entire 7-day period, you can see the bulk of it here. It looks very similar to the first 3 days when most of it occurs. And the long-range 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from September 30th through October 6th, and you can see through here that above normal temperatures and drier than normal conditions will ensue. So western Nevada and points eastwards will gradually dry out. However, a lot of the fuels have been moistened. We'll be battling longer nights and shorter days. So we'll have to watch this area to see if there'll be any short-term concerns. Basically, this time of year, off the Sierra front with strong downslope winds is the only time we really have any significant fire concerns this time of year. We'll have to watch and see if those conditions do set up. Otherwise, this concludes our briefing. Have a great day.